my question to you is, do you think naturally a lot of us as practitioners, we artificially put in front of us barriers to creativity because we look at these brand guidelines, these brand books, whatever, almost gospel in a way that we have to do it this way?
Mhm. In some respect, I think it is important to look at it as gospel, but in others, there is that flexibility, and that's where it comes down to a brand level, and it will be different depending on the brand and organization. The most important thing is that you know what assets trigger the brand most strongly for category buyers or consumers more generally. Those are the ones that you should stick pretty true to, right? There are other examples of brands changing entire packs. Snickers, for example, have done it related to the World Cup before, where they actually changed the word. And Coca-Cola does the same thing, share a Coke with, because they understand that that particular asset is so strong that it can withstand that level of flexibility and those changes. The danger is when brands mark their own homework and assume that their assets are stronger than they actually are. They think, we've used this particular asset for such a long time, we know it's cornerstone to our brand, so we're going to start playing around with it. If you don't have the consumer research to show that that's okay to do, that's when you can start to lose attribution and potentially even bring competitors in to that consumer memory mix where they get confused. So that's where it's really important to understand your own brand in the marketplace with consumers before you sort of do that kind of tinkering.
It's a good.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's really good. My head is just swirling right now. So, okay, and another thing. So you've got the distinctive brand assets. You've got a brand book. To me, what the other thing just popped in my head was like, okay, so we're talking about market research. It's not often in my career, maybe it's just because the company I've been at, but it's not often that I see a measurement of the brand assets, the strength of the brand assets in that brand book. So it's almost like if you're saying you're trying to measure things that happen in the real world. And so you've got a brand book, but if you just leave it up to people to choose, then they're going to choose whatever they like. But there's not necessarily a concerted effort to enforce specific assets or reinforce specific assets more than others. And so I guess the question for you is, have you seen that, and are there assets that are just naturally stronger than others?
Yeah, we definitely do see that. And we always recommend that whatever you're doing should be based in the numbers. It's not about how strong you think your distinctive assets are. It's about how effective they are at triggering the brand in consumer memory. And that involves going to consumers and actually researching it. And one rabbit hole that sometimes organizations go down is doing qualitative evaluation of distinctive assets. But it's not how distinctive assets are encountered in the real world. In the real world, it's about, when I see this asset, do I think of the brand? And that's how they should be measured. So we recommend any measurement that sort of prompts with the distinctive asset. It doesn't give a prompted brand list and allows people to just freely recall what brands they think of, because that will give you a really robust measure of how strong that asset actually is. And there's not really any room to hide behind it either. You can't really fudge those numbers. Definitely we recommend using those figures in your brand book.